Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about the television show UnReal in relation to power, gender, and race in popular culture. The show's satirical narrative allows for tons of commentary on these hefty topics. UnReal is basically a show within a show. It's about the production of a reality television show called Everlasting, similar to The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Viewers watch the television production team manipulate and humiliate the contestants of Everlasting to get good footage. And as much drama as there is on camera, the behind-the-scenes drama is just as intense. First, we're going to discuss hegemonic masculinity and femininity within the show. Hegemonic masculinity, quote, signifies culturally normative and influential ideas of masculinity. As such, masculine hegemony can be viewed as a role, status set, perspective, behavior, or personal characteristic. Although not all hegemonic men embody all aspects at once, they may possess particular elements, end quote. The same is true for hegemonic femininity. In UnReal, these are depicted through the contestants chosen for the reality television dating show Everlasting. My apologies, this gets a little bit meta. The producers choose a number of women or men to compete for The Bachelor or Bachelorette, and all tend to follow hegemonic masculinity or femininity. Quickly, we'll run through the list of main women from season 1. First, we have Mary, who is considered the designated MILF. We have Faith, who plays the role of the virgin cowgirl.
I was thinking about a sweet little mini rodeo followed up by a church dance.
Oh, whoa. You're working way too hard. Screw the rodeo and just get your woof to lose it to the big guy.
Yeah, but she hasn't even admitted that she's a virgin yet, so...
Well, then get her to. Come on, Goldie. It's $10K off your debt if you can pop her cherry in Dixie. Huh?
There's Grace, who's the sexy swimsuit model.
Do you think America's gonna want to tune in to watch you and anorexia paint a fence? It's just so boring. Pick me, and we'll do it till you're cross-eyed. And then when the show's over and you break it off, the audience will be with you. Because I'm just a hot-blooded Latina temptress with a bangin' body and a sexy bikini line that will get a lot of exposure.
And Anna, who is the smart blonde who thinks she has the game beat already.
Camera's on Anna.
Copy.
Excuse me, Grace. Can I speak with you for a second? Sure. Oh, 1 second, Adam. What's up? There's just this rumor that you, That what? That you are such a good dancer. And you're so pretty. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So that was kind of a fail. What happened? Well, I realized I was about to slut shame a woman on national television, and I'm not about that.
Not to mention, all of them are beautiful. Now, this idea of casting hegemonic femininity plays into some ideas Laura Mulvey outlines in her essay, Visual Pleasure in Narrative Cinema, like fetishistic scopophilia, gender power dynamics, and the male gaze. Fetishistic scopophilia is, quote, the substitution of a fetish object or turning the represented figure itself into a fetish so that it becomes reassuring rather than dangerous. Hence, overvaluation, the cult of the female star. This second avenue, fetishistic scopophilia, builds up the physical beauty of the object, transforming it into something satisfying in itself, end quote. In other words, the fetish object, often a woman, is depicted as such in order to dismiss a threat posed by being valued as whole. Instead, the image itself of the object is satisfactory to viewers. There is a pleasure in solely looking. Mulvey's description of gender power dynamics also appears here. Quote, in a world ordered by sexual imbalance, pleasure in looking has been split between active male and passive female, end quote. The entire setup of the Bachelor-style show creates this imbalance and adds to the hegemonic idea of women as pleasure objects. Finally, the male gaze is projected onto the woman. Quote, the determining male gaze projects its fantasy onto the female figure, which is styled accordingly. In their traditional exhibitionist role, women are simultaneously looked at and displayed with their appearance coded for strong visual and erotic impact so that they can be said to connote to be looked atness, end quote. The stereotyping of the cast does exactly this. In season 3 of UnReal, we see more hegemonic masculinity in contestants vying for a bachelorette. The stereotypes of men chosen follow versions of hegemonic masculinities outlined by Ricciardelli, Clow, and White. In their analysis of men's magazines, they discovered 3 depictions of hegemonic masculinities: muscularity, which emphasizes physical build, aggression, and violence as a means of control; metrosexuality, which emphasizes appearance, grooming, self-presentation, and non-oppressive relationships; and laddism, which has an emphasis on bachelorhood, self-indulgence, consumption, and youthfulness. Running through the men real quick, we have Jasper, who's very much a finance bro. I would say he embodies metrosexuality on the outside, but has the personality of muscularity. We have Owen, who's a firefighter and single father, who comes across as muscularity physically, I suppose, but is very much the metrosexuality. We have August, who is this surfer environmentalist, who's definitely metrosexuality. We have Alexi, the bad boy dancer, who absolutely falls into laddism. And we have Norman, who is the short jockey, who definitely has a metro look, but a laddism personality. Next, we're going to dive into the misogyny and sexism that UnReal comments on in reality television and television generally. The film Generation M says that, quote, a central message about women through the lens of television, that women are treacherous, self-serving people who use sex as a tool to get what they want, and that women should think of each other as rivals, end quote. This is really the basis of Everlasting and plenty of other Bachelor/Bachelorette style shows. Next, there's an integral relationship in the show that highlights the sexist and misogynistic power struggle in the behind-the-scenes production of television between head showrunner Quinn and the creator of Everlasting, Chet. They have a constant struggle for ownership, taking the show in different directions, loving and hating each other. Sarah Gertrude Shapiro, the co-creator of UnReal, explains how Quinn, quote, wants to beat Chet. I think her whole life is structured such that if she were born a man, she would have become Chet, but she's at the top of her game for where she can be as a heterosexual woman, end quote. There's also a struggle with the female showrunners, Quinn and Rachel, reproducing the male gaze, sexism, and misogyny on the show. Shapiro considers this idea pretty integral to the show. She explains how her own personal experience informed the creation of the female-producing male gaze dynamic. Quote, when I was working as producer on The Bachelor, what I found was that you start evaluating other women on this really harsh and unforgiving 1 to 10 scale, like, oh, she's a 9 with a point for personality. Eventually, when you're in your troll hole of a home by yourself, that harshness, that scrutiny, that male gaze will inevitably turn inward, and you start thinking, I'm a 4 with 0 points for personality. You know what I mean? End quote. Viewers see this mainly in showrunner Rachel. For example, viewers watch in Season 1, Episode 3, the rape of one of the contestants, Maya. It is instantly swept under the rug, though it obviously had a major effect on her. Then, in Season 4, the All-Star season, both Maya and her rapist are brought back to the show. The moment that Maya sees her rapist is exploited by Rachel for a good story. Rachel actively planned for both of them to be there to capture Maya's reaction and says she will protect Maya but continuously triggers her and puts her in uncomfortable positions throughout the season. This highlights the exploitation of misogyny and sexism for views, but by a female instead of a male. In Season 3, we also watch Rachel reproduce a misogynistic and sexist perspective. The Bachelorette on the season is independent, intelligent, competitive, and outspoken rather than dainty, dumb, and in distress looking for a man, like they expect her to be. The producers immediately try to dumb her down so that she appeals to the men more and doesn't scare them off. Finally, we're going to look into the discussion of intersectional spectatorship and racism in UnReal. Crenshaw states, quote, the failure of feminism to interrogate race means that the resistance strategies of feminism will often replicate and reinforce the subordination of people of color, and the failure of anti-racism to interrogate the patriarchy means that anti-racism will frequently reproduce the subordination of women, end quote. As Crenshaw says, many feminist theories do not consider race, and Laura Mulvey's is one of them. In response to her essay, Bell Hooks wrote The Oppositional Gaze, outlining the intersectional spectatorship of Black people, specifically of Black female spectators. Mulvey fails to take points like Hooks into consideration. However, UnReal critiques Black spectatorship and screen time very explicitly. Quinn often comments very openly on the black contestants' ability to win the show.
I'm Shamiqua.
Shamiqua. Okay, there we go. I think I got it.
That's a cut! That's a cut! Everybody back to one, please! Let's hustle!
Damn it! Shamiqua? That's your girl? That's the one who you said had wife potential? She's black.
She's gorgeous. She went to Spelman.
Okay, you know what? First girl out of the carriage is always a wifey, and that is not a wifey.
There is a black man in the White House.
Oh, thank you so much. I know, okay? And he's barely black, all right? It is not my fault that America's racist, people.
Another one of the producers, who is a gay black man, pulls aside two of the black contestants and says,
Have either of you ever seen a black girl win one of these shows?
Has one even made it into the final four?
And you've got to go big, okay? Loud and highly opinionated.
I didn't go to Spelman and clerk for Supreme Court Justice to end up some ratchet hoochie on TV. I deserve to be here. I want to be in the Final Four because of who I am.
Here, UnReal directly comments on the stereotypes that black women feel the need to play into in order to obtain screen time and make it farther along. It comments on the lack of space given to black females in the industry and how the space they are given is not a fair representation. That same producer, Jay, continuously pitches his ideas for a new show to Quinn and is always shut down. One example is when he tries to pitch a show about an underground dance scene that is, quote, making a space for different kinds of maleness within trap music, end quote. Quinn responds that she needs a, quote, 4-quadrant juggernaut, not like an 1/8 of a quadrant niche show that maybe gets a summer run on basic cable, end quote. Once again, UnReal comments on the lack of space given to black spectators in the industry and the lack of attention given to black creators. There's even an uproar about the potential of a black bachelor, which Quinn ultimately convinces for. The original hesitation comes from the network's president, who is concerned just by the fact that the proposed bachelor is black, to which Quinn responds,
He's black.
Yeah, he's the first black
No,
bat.
he's not that black. All right, Gary, he's like football black.
I know who he is. All right, I'm looking at him right now. He's black.
And, you know, hell yes, he's going to be dating white chicks, okay? And hopefully he's going to be making deep, dark, nasty love to them, too. I mean, the more white pussy, the better. Am I right, Gary?
I'm sorry, what?
I promise you, 20 million viewers. The minute he lays black hands on a white ass, Twitter will melt down. Oh, and the girls, Gary, we have a hot racist, a even hotter black activist power person.
Here, the inherent racism behind television production is highlighted and the stereotypes surrounding a black man's sexuality are put on blast. The show's co-creator, Sarah Gertrude Shapiro, makes an important comment about this particular season. Quote, "We take an unflinching look at the white liberal guilt motivating Rachel's exploitation of this black suitor to further her self-worth. We don't shy away from depicting Rachel's self-aggrandizement or her self-congratulation about how radical she believes she is for having pushed through this casting decision," end quote. Overall, UnReal's satirical narrative makes intense critiques and asks viewers to consider their own perspectives on gender, power, and race. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I hope you enjoyed.